Hi there, Leo. Welcome to a love reading for people in relationships or maybe an ex relationship. This is for July 2025. It's Raina here of Tarot Alchemy by Raina Moon. My main channel, mostly astrology, is Raina Moon Astrology. Oh, wow. You got the two cards. Oh my God. Okay. I already know the title of this one. Stick a fork in it, it's done. Because, I mean, my God, I mean, it's just hilarious. But I mean, it's not hilarious for somebody who's going through things like that, but I'm talking about synchronistically. The heart of the matter is the Five of Cups. This is a card of mourning the loss of something. So the person may feel like um, they have lost something in their life that was meaningful to them. In this case, this would be your relationship. And when I look at the past position, where we have the Three of Cups, and so this can be that at one time it may have felt more light. The energy may have felt more light. Three is a number of fun and freedom, or just things that are creativity, I should say, expansion, and the cups are emotion. So we have the first two cards that I'm reading here are concerning emotions, but the Five of Cups is a card that is much more associated with um, grief and how a person deals with it. And the Three of Cups is celebration. Another thing that the Three of Cups represents to me is dealing with alcoholism. Is alcoholism maybe partying and philandering? And maybe those two going together, like a person who has a drinking problem and they go to bars all the time and then they cheat while they're under the influence. And you maybe finally realizing that this is not just kind of an aberration, but this is a pattern that you're having to deal with, and then feeling sad about that for obvious reasons, because you realize that it's not going to magically go away. So it can feel very sad to realize that, to feel like uh, the dream that you had for your life with this person is probably not going to happen. Now, when I do these readings, because I just did another signs reading, and I was thinking about it, I'm thinking, okay, so what is the point of me doing these readings? And really, it's not because I don't always, it depends on what the cards say, because there might be times when I would say, you know what, maybe you're misunderstanding the situation, you're blowing it up, you're doing this, you're doing that. Well, in this particular reading, it's pretty blatant. And I want, this is for everybody born under the sign of Leo. So obviously, this is not meant to be for everybody in a relationship. But if it lands on you, and if it resonates, in other words, it resonates with you that this is your situation, then it can simply affirm. Maybe you feel guilt about it. Maybe you know that you need to make some changes, but you feel guilt. The higher message is the Justice card. And this could be like, yes, if you are legally bound to such a person, you might be consulting legal eagles the legal matters. But I also say too, the Justice card is about fairness and balance. That's why she's holding the scales. And this can't be minimized. Leos tend to have big hearts, and Leos tend to love very fiercely when they are truly in love. So I would say that maybe some of you love someone more than they are showing love to you. And not that everything is tit for tat, but on the other hand, you are deserving of receiving love in return, not in being treated like, in a disrespectful manner by somebody who is cheating or whatever, or if they have some kind of drinking problem, that they are just not at home or they're under the influence. You deserve better than that. What crosses you, so this prevents you from taking action, is the Nine of Swords, which is a card of anxiety. And it's interesting because this deck is faithful to Rider-Waite, and people have interpreted this card with the illustration, noting that there are flowers on the bread spread, which is supposed to symbolize that it's not as bad as it seems, that the person may be making mountains out of molehills. They may be exaggerating the problem, that it's actually okay. I mean, not that it's okay, but it's actually doable and something. I think the anxiety comes from Leo being a fixed sign. And, fixed signs, I just did Taurus, and fixed signs tend to be very set in their ways, and they don't like to change, even when they're in pain. It's like the devil they know feels somehow better than just the unknown. And of course, that can lead to getting in a rut and staying put in a situation that isn't really going to serve you in the long run. What's coming in, the Judgment card. This is a card that is, that's why I kind of laughed, because when you get the Judgment card and the Justice card, and I got the World card, so that can suggest, but I'm talking about specifically with the Judgment and Justice card, suggest legal matters, because Judgment can be, a judge. But it's also a card of rebirth, and it's also a card of karma, meaning cause and effect. So it's kind of like, when we talk about Judgment Day, it's like the chickens coming home to roost, as one of my books says. And the reason is, and by the way, that does not mean punishment. And the word karma means action. So it's like every action has a reaction. That's just how it is. Gravity is, has reactions. Is that punishment? That a glass dropped from a balcony shatters into 1,000 pieces? No, it's just the law of nature. Right? Maybe physics. I'm not really that knowledgeable about that. But yeah. So, but it also a card of rebirth. So, with Cancer, with Jupiter in Cancer, Leo, that's in your 12th house. And so that area is getting magnified, that spiritual area. And so you may find that you are divinely protected, even as you deal with some very heavy, you might deal with some heavy emotional things. Your spiritual life may be blossoming in the coming year, before you have Jupiter go into your sign. And so, and also another thing about the 12th house is it's a house of endings, and like tying up loose ends. Speaking of which, the outcome is the World card. This is an end of an era, the end of an era. And what this is the last card of the major arcana. Oh, look at your symbol on the bottom right. I really don't know why they have all the fixed signs in the four corners of this. If you are a tarot expert, you should let me know about that. The infinity symbol is in the middle at the bottom there. Maybe because they stand for endurance, but everything of this world comes to an end because it's temporary. And so it's really about embracing that concept and understanding when something is over with, when a season of life is over with, and being able to be graceful about it. You know, I was on Instagram, which we know can be very, very shallow with a lot of images. And there were these women talking about, oh, wow, you know, that woman looks so young. And all these women were bragging about how young they look. And I said to some of them, there's nothing wrong with aging. See, that's the problem, is that we can't see when one era has ended and another one has begun. And we are trying to cling to the old. And a lot of people justified their stance and said, well, you know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look young or whatever. And when we really can let something go, it's liberating. And when we can't let it go, it controls us. So just keep that in mind, because, you know, you may have anxiety contemplating something that you know in your heart of hearts is over with, but think about, if you refuse to let it go, how will that impact you? Okay, that's what I have for you, Leo. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I do a lot more astrology than tarot, but I do both, and I even have package deals with both. You can find out more information about my services at the link below. I'm at rainamoonastrology.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.